I don't gotta change the world, I just got to be myself. I don't count dollar signs, spread love and I share the wealth. I've been overthinking all my life. No more wasting all my precious time. I feel alive, I feel alive, feeling like I'm 10 feet tall. I feel alive, I feel alive, feeling like I'm
An option.
Yeah, I gave him an option. We decided we weren't gonna keep him on the team per se, but we gave him an option to continue to practice with us. Help us out with the team, kind of like a team manager, practice player type deal.
Yeah.
And he said, my parents gotta make sure I get my grades up, so it's not really an option right now. So he kind of took himself out of the picture.
Really?
So we have the one player that's just not eligible until January.
Gotcha.
But he's been practicing and all that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that'd be good. Nice little addition, just to have an extra body. Obviously,
Gotta have depth.
You
Yeah.
never know. It's kind of a long season. Somewhat.
Definitely.
So injuries or grades or just real life things that come up with family that just take you out of a game or two or something. So it's just part of it.
Yep. Yeah, because grades update in January, and we do a good job of getting out grade checks and just making sure staying on top of the players.
Yeah.
Holding each other accountable in the classroom too.
Yeah. That's good.
So hopefully we don't have anybody becoming ineligible.
Surprises.
Yeah, no surprises. But we pretty much know where everybody's at.
Yeah. Do you guys do do you specifically do like interviews? Not interviews, but like just catching up with the teachers, or do you kind of just wait to see if they come to you on certain things?
They know they can reach out to me. And they've done a pretty good job of that if there has something that has arisen. But they just, they come to me really. If I have a question, I don't mind, reaching out to an individual teacher. But
so if you're like in like PE classes and stuff, do you ever find somebody that's like kind of balling a little bit, like in pickup? They're like, oh, he looks decent.
Yeah, we had a couple guys in that were in my basketball PE class. That were decent. Tried out.
They try out.
Yeah, they tried out.
Okay.
Some didn't make it. One actually made it.
Okay.
But he happens to be the player that is not academically eligible until January. So it is what it is.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. But he was good enough to make it. And I think he's been helping us out in practice and all that. So.
That's good. Shoot, I mean, this will be your first full year there, so it's just like interesting to see over time, like not really recruits, but just people that like choose to go there because they like what the program there and like what you're building there. So that'd be kind of cool to see, because that after a year or two, like everyone kind of knows. You kind of know enough about most of the coaches that you would even consider like going to play for. You know what I'm saying?
Especially if it's like a school that is,
a big
you
school.
would potentially go to,
exactly.
like in your area.
Absolutely.
But I think we have a good class coming up from our feeder middle school.
Oh, nice.
I checked out one of their games, and
you did?
Yeah, they beat whoever it was, 72 to 20
really?
or something.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so they're decent.
Yeah, they're solid. We got, like I said, we have some players coming up. But a lot of our guys, even on like our varsity or JV, a lot of those guys are choice.
Oh really?
So they don't necessarily live right in Valrico.
They choose to go.
Yeah. We have a couple guys from Riverview. One player, he lives out by East Bay.
Oh really?
So yeah, and quite a few kids, student athletes or not, they choice over to Durant just because of I guess the atmosphere.
I was gonna ask how are the academics at Durant now?
Solid.
Yeah,
solid. I think last year we finished as a B school.
Oh, that's all you can ask for.
That's solid.
B's good. Especially for public high school.
Yeah, and there's so many different factors that go into your school grade. So I think a B is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Do you think you guys would ever, I know probably take some like funding from like a fundraiser type thing, but would you like try to take your guys to like a college basketball game, or just try to get them to go watch a college practice, you know, just to show them like this is different?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's actually in the works. We want to check out Florida Southern.
Yeah.
We want to check out a Tampa game, USF game, Eckerd.
Eckerd, obviously.
Eckerd. With connections there. So yeah, that's definitely on the
That'd
books.
be
Just
cool.
team bonding, just because they need to see.
They need to see the work and like
It-
see that it's not sweet. Even for them to watch a practice and then like join in for the last like 30 minutes of practice or whatever.
Yeah.
Just to, like do some drills, or that'd be pretty cool for them to see.
And I'm constantly reminding my team
Yeah.
in practice, communication is huge.
Yeah.
And when you walk into a college practice, it's just nonstop talking, hooting, hollering, just nonstop noise.
Right.
And I'm trying to get our guys to be, to replicate that.
Right.
Because it's only going to make everybody better.
Yeah.
And, just builds team chemistry, so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And confidence too. I mean, the thing is like, I feel like it's like it's a work in progress to get them to do that in practice. But once they can do it in the game, because that's where a lot of people get, even people that talk in practice are scared to do it in the game.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't want to talk in front of, all these people listening and stuff. And it's like, no, like, that's going to, obviously communication is going to lead to good confidence, and you can play faster. If you kind of know where that guy's going to be and he knows where you're going to be, you're going to play a lot faster.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know who's got help, your help on defense and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, communication is absolutely critical.
What do you guys like? I'm sure you switch it up, obviously, but like, what's your go-to defense?
We like to go man. Yeah,
just run.
Man. Yeah, just make teams work.
Yeah. Do a lot of teams just do that, or I feel like they zone it?
Yeah.
Obviously depends, obviously. But
yeah.
I'm just saying primarily. Like, what's like your go-to?
Just a half court man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to switch a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it requires a lot of communication.
Absolutely.
Like I said. But we'll mix in some zone depending on who we're playing and all that.
You got some people bamming like in games consistently.
Yeah,
I know they can.
A couple kids that
but...
can. We had our big guy number 13 against Sumner.
Mm-hmm.
Caught it on the baseline out of bounds play. Had a little bit of a hook that he did to get around his guy, but hey, they didn't call it.
Yeah, that's right. Got to do a little hook.
Just right to the rim and
boom.
Bam.
Yeah, nice.
And that hyped us up because that was a big game.
Yeah,
and we were down a little bit early on.
Dude, dunks are already hyping any level, basketball. But in high school, it's a different. I mean, there's nothing. If you start dunking, I feel like that's more hype than like hitting 3 threes in a row, arguably.
It could, yeah, definitely.
Because it's just like so unexpected. Like if somebody shoots a 3, the dopamine, like they're so excited to win in. But it's like, yeah, everyone's gonna be shooting some baskets.
Yeah.
But when somebody bams one, you're like, oh, I didn't know they had somebody that could bam. Like actually bam in a game is different.
Yeah, it changes. It changes a little bit. It gets in their psyche a little bit. There's just something about freaking yamming a ball, in that hoop that like just it's just different. It's different.
Yeah, that's good. It gets, like you said, it gets all the teammates hyped up and stuff like that. But so I mean, how's just being back down here in the hometown, obviously outside of like coaching basketball? Has it been good to be closer to family and friends? Or it's obviously probably like a 180 change from the years. So how many years were you up in Panama? 3?
So we were up in Panama City Beach for just about 4 years.
Okay. 4
yeah,
years. Wow.
Just about 4 years. So we went through the whole COVID.
I was gonna say
thing.
you basically did COVID up there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was interesting. That's where I really got my foot in the door coaching. It was kind of just I just Facebook messaged the coach one day. Because at the time I wasn't working. I just messaged him. He got back to me in a couple of days, like, hey, come meet with me. And he's a great guy. He's actually the athletic director for the county now up in Bay County. Yeah, he's a great dude. Josh Latch. So he kind of helped me get my foot in the door. He had a JV coach in line waiting. Something didn't work out with him. I think it was just he was a lazy teacher.
Oh, really?
To be honest with you.
Kind of had,
yeah. So he asked me if I wanted to do it. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
So he kind of, but it was just, Panama City Beach is a totally different lifestyle compared to the Tampa area. A little bit slower, a lot of tourism, but it's all localized. It's all right in that one area versus Tampa. There's so many different spots that people go to, so the traffic can get
it can
really bad. Yeah, there's
because like the streets aren't meant for that many people.
Yeah,
the influx of it.
There's 2 streets.
Yeah,
there's back beach.
Yeah,
okay, which is a 2-lane highway, and then Front Beach, which is where all the beach motels
Sure.
and stuff are. So yeah, there's 2 roads.
Yeah, jeez. Well, that's cool though. That see, you never know. The answer's always no unless you like reach out and ask. And because you were doing, I mean, I feel like you've always been kind of involved in coaching, like where you could.
Yeah.
Even like in school. Like I remember in college, you would come back and weren't you? I think you were getting some hours doing like some JV coaching or something.
Yeah. So remember, I was working at Ale House.
Yeah.
In Fort Myers. Just trying to pay rent, right? So my last 2 years of college were all online. So I ended up moving back to the Apollo Beach, Tampa area, and lived with my dad for a little bit. And I hit up, legendary Coach Gaddis.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, we could use some help. Him and Coach Turley were doing their things.
Yeah.
So I was going to every practice, all that. And they had a good squad. That was, I think, 2014, I think 2013, 2014. And that squad, remember, they actually
10 years ago, bro. It's crazy.
It's time, man. Time.
I remember that because I remember I was going to some of those games. That's back when Deontay was still there.
Yes. Yeah. So they had some athletes. Remember, they made it to the Final Four that year.
Yeah. Because they had Little Watts and
Gary.
Yeah. And Cedric too. Maybe not Cedric actually.
No, I think maybe Cedric was a senior. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyways, regardless, they had a good team.
Yeah.
So it was good. That was really my first kind of experience coaching. Gaddis let me coach the JV guys a couple of games. And that's where I really knew, like, man,
you like it?
Yeah. Like, I like this crap, man. Like, just seeing the impact you make and, kids making plays on the court.
It's tough too, because like you're sitting there with all this knowledge and, basketball IQ and, you can lead a horse to the water, right? It's like you're just out of control. Like you can't control it. I feel like that's the toughest part about being a coach. You're like, he's right, like, because you see it as a spectator, as a fan. You're like, oh, like watch the back door. Like you're like watching it. You're probably like, oh, I told Gary, watch the back door.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, we definitely, have pregame, scout and talks, about that. But yeah, we always preach control the controllables.
Yeah.
We can't control what the ref's going to call on a charge or a block. I mean, we can do what we can to, cause a charge, or vice versa. If we're driving, if we don't jump stop and we go right into them and they're there, if he calls a charge, he calls a charge.
Yeah, you made it. Yeah. Don't make it hard on them. Make it easy. Yeah. Do you are you guys pretty disciplined on that? Like, even just like, I know like the big thing in high school is like jumping, right? Everyone wants to get the block. Like, are you guys pretty disciplined on that? Because you guys have some big bodies that can just put the hands up.
Yeah,
that helps out.
We've been actually very disciplined at it. Just because, like I said, we have a 6'8", 6'6". All they got to do is put their dang hands up.
Yeah,
and it's way harder to shoot over that. And they don't need to try to block everything. They get blocks just by having their hands up.
Because I mean, you're 6'8", you can probably touch almost 9 feet.
Like,
the tips of your hands. I'm saying.
Yeah. So they've done a pretty good job at that. Yeah. We have done a great job of sacrificing our body in these last 3 or 4 games, taking charges. We're averaging like 3 to 5 charges a game, which can really make a difference.
Heck yeah.
Those are game-winning type plays.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that.
You guys making free throws?
Want
to get better?
We got to get better at free throws.
Yeah.
I think we're averaging as a team right now a little under 70%. Okay. So we want to be in that 75, 80.
Are you going through those stats? Walk me through like game day from the time you wake up. Obviously you're going to go to school and, work for the day, but like is there any difference on like how you approach like a game day?
No.
Compared to like a day that you have practice, right? It's probably a little bit different like after school, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, we have the normal school day. I'm pretty locked in. I'm not, messing around too much on game day.
Or I guess like a normal day, because don't you guys do some practices before school sometimes? So what does a normal day look like, and then what does a game day look like?
All right, so a normal day, depending on the schedule, we might practice before school, or we might have an after school practice. But typically it'll be after school, and we kind of rotate with the girls program, whether it's early or late practice. But typically, at school by 6:30. Hopefully there's some guys in there shooting around, which usually there is.
That's good.
Yeah, it's always good to open up the gym in the morning and there's already kids shooting, just working on their game. But 6:30, first bell is at 8:25.
Okay, so you got a couple hours to get some work in.
And I use that time to either go to the gym real quick, or do some work on the computer if I need to, or scout or whatever, stats and stuff like that.
Are you working out, like lifting with the team, like you personally?
I try to get in there a little bit.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm just kind of supervising, because a lot of those guys, especially the young guys, you got to watch their form and stuff so they're not getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's a big thing.
And I don't have a strength and conditioning coach. Yeah. I wish I did. But
how's that work? That's obviously just happen on the school level. Like if they have that teacher there type thing, or a teacher that wants to like donate his time to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure there is somebody. Especially for football, like the football guys are always in the weight room.
Yeah, I bet you could probably get an assistant from football to
help out a little bit with that.
If you want. Yeah. Obviously, I don't know who wants to get there a couple hours early every day,
right?
For not his sport, it's probably like, I'm trying to be a head coach here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no,
like football. I'm saying.
Yeah, but no, I mean, then you have your school day, and then practice. Usually runs 2 hours.
Okay.
Maybe 3:30 to 5:30 or 5:30 to 7:30. Yeah, and then we're pretty big on film. We watch film, weekly.
Okay.
We got to get better at learning from our mistakes that we see on film,
right?
Because we're still kind of repeating some of those mistakes.
Yeah. How is that like? Is it like a slippery slope when you're trying to like coach somebody up, but like obviously you're in a group setting, so you don't want to like hurt their feelings too much, No, obviously not everyone can handle criticism.
Yeah, no, and I probably have to do a better job at that, because I'm just
you're just like calling them out
100%, like
I think
just real.
Fine, though.
Just being real with them, telling them, I'm not going to sugarcoat things. If I see something like on film, I don't like to say call them out, but we're gonna address it, and try to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't like put anybody down, but I'm just
it's not like an emotional.
Yeah,
you're not coming at them type thing.
Yeah, but some of our guys, they can get in their feelings and all that.
Yeah.
So we're working on the mental toughness.
Yeah. Well, I feel like as long as you're consistent with everybody like that, I feel like everyone can respect that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Even if it takes some time to get around to it, just like, when they're looking back in hindsight, they're like, all right, you know what? Even the teachers that were always like notable, like to be like tough, but they were tough on everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe like one person that was like their favorite, which is just normal. But like out of hundreds of students, they were tough on everybody. You're like, all right, well, I just got to get my stuff together.
For sure. And for sure. And you don't want to, tell a kid during film that, hey, you're doing everything right.
Right.
Because then he's going to think he's doing everything right and keep doing, whatever he's doing. So you have to address those things.
Yeah.
And we're in a group setting. So you got to do it. What you got to do.
No, yeah, that makes sense. So what about like in the classroom? Any, obviously probably runs a gamut, but like any like funny stories of just like from being a teacher? Obviously not just at Durant, but just like, you've been basically in the education field for what? Like
it's been
kind of 7 years?
Not
6,
quite
7?
7, but about 5.
5?
Yeah,
okay.
5.
Because I feel like these kids, they're like, they look younger than we looked at their age, but I feel like they're exposed to more maybe than we were. But I feel like our age group, we were always like, even if we weren't exposed, we were pretty like mature for our age.
Right.
Like we were never surprised about new things that we learned, and we can kind of connect the dots. But I just feel like with obviously inherently with social media, because I would say until we were probably like juniors or seniors in high school, probably closer to seniors in high school, was like the first time that you could like actually send a text to anybody and they would have texting.
Yeah.
Because not everyone had like unlimited texting when first like phones came out. Like, I got like 10 messages, dude. Like,
oh my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? Or like had a paper text or like whatever it was.
I used to rack up that AT&T bill. And my dad would be like, who are you freaking texting?
Yeah.
Like,
Imagine hindsight. Imagine if you got like a bill from one of your daughters and it was like $100. You're like, who?
Yeah.
Should we invite them to dinner? Like, who is it?
Right. I mean, yeah. But no, you're exactly right. I mean,
so I just can't even imagine.
I mean, they're just always, the phone is a huge issue in the classroom.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, enforce it school wide. There's some schools that like they collect your phone, on a daily basis, and then the kid doesn't have it. And then our school, it's kind of up to the individual teacher.
Which is kind of messed up, I think. I don't think the teacher should be. I think the teacher had the power to take it away, but I don't think it should be up to the teacher to take it away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's like a lot you're putting on a teacher, but that's not their personality to have like that like strength in that. You know?
I think there's just got to be consistency.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, me personally, I don't necessarily care about the phones. Because they're in high school, and I let them know like, hey, you guys are old enough.
Yeah.
If you want to get the grade and you want to do the work, you're going to do the work.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm just like letting kids, you know,
you're just going to fight different battles,
do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll meet with them individually and be like, you know, if you want the grade, you're going to have to earn it, you know?
Yeah.
Versus just sitting there on your phone all day.
Yeah.
But it's nice now. Cause I used to teach science up in the Panhandle, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But coaching while doing that was tough.
Yeah.
You know, grading labs and setting up labs after, you know, practice and all that. It was definitely,
so it's way more cohesive now, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of meshes in with what you're already doing that day.
Absolutely.
Your mindset doesn't have to shift too much.
Yeah. I'm in the gym 24 or, you know,
as much as
as much as I am at school, I'm always in the gym.
Yeah.
For the Hope class that I teach, I'm only in the classroom. I'm only teaching 2 days out of the week.
Okay.
So 3 days out of the week, we're out in the field, you know, playing flag football or, you know, inside, whatever the case may be. So the kids aren't, you know, in that classroom for 5 days out of the week.
How long are periods?
About 48 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they probably get like a solid like 30 minutes for the activity.
Yeah.
Like just like dress in, dress out time.
Yeah, and they're pretty slow on the dressing out and stuff. You got kids going in the locker room who aren't going to dress out. They're just
like chilling, talking.
Just waiting, you know, waiting for their buddies.
Yeah.
So
that's so funny, dude. I still remember like, oh, you're not dressing out today? No, I'm not dressing out. I ain't gonna dress out either. You know, like people be talking about it. Like, what? You both are not gonna dress out for no reason? No,
absolutely. And that's the biggest part of the grade in my PE classes. It's like 75% just dress out and participate.
Isn't that crazy? Because you know they always say about like college per se, like it's not necessarily, unless you're like working in a specialty, it's not necessarily like what you go to college for. It's that you completed college, right? They want to see that you did something for 4 years and showed up, et cetera, et cetera. But it's funny because like with not dressing out, it's like you already showed up. You're just like, nah, I'm not gonna change.
I don't feel like changing today.
Yeah,
like it's. I
feel like I get it more for girls. You know, for whatever reason, like I'm like,
I can see that.
You don't want to. You're not. Today's not a good day. I get it for multitude of reasons. But if you're a guy, I just love. I mean, I'm just like, dude, dress out, go play.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I feel like PE classes, basketball classes, just anything like physical is like you can't beat it in high school.
Yeah. No, it
goes field trips and then PE class and then like everything else.
Right. I mean, because PE, you're getting a little bit of a break from all the academic, you know, work and all that stuff. You know, at least when you're dressing out and participating and all that. And our PE class is super easy. We make it as, you know, as easy as possible on them. So you'd be surprised at how many people just don't get the work done. But I think as a group, our department, we do a good job of actually, you know, teaching the material. And one of the reasons why I like teaching this health PE course is because you can use this information throughout your whole life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Versus trigonometry or whatever.
Even a lab. It's like, am I going to go to Walmart and buy all the stuff to make a lab at home?
Yeah.
Probably not. Because I'm going to get arrested for building a bomb by mistake.
No. So, I mean, you know, talking about nutrition. And, you know, stuff like that. People can use this information, you know, their whole life.
Absolutely.
So I enjoy teaching it.
Yeah. I mean, it's certain things, whether it's in school or just through life, like, you know, people might have an opinion on them, but certain things, like even like the seatbelt, right? It's like you might have an opinion on wearing a seatbelt, but it's like everywhere. You know, it's not an American thing, not a European thing. It's like every country, every continent. You know, so that was what was unique about COVID to me. It was like the first time in my lifetime where like everyone was on the same page in regards to there's something that we're trying to address here. Yeah. You know, because with like religion, everything else is like, oh, you can like, oh, that's for you guys. We're you know, we're Western, we're Eastern society, you know, whatever. But COVID was like global. You know, and that's like the first thing. And seatbelts are kind of like that. Obviously, like not drinking and driving is kind of like that, you know. And I feel like PE is kind of like that too. Yeah. Because it's been around since, you know, before the 1900s. Like whenever schools were first formed, there was like time to go outside. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like recess and like. And
kids need it.
Kids need it. Yeah. Yeah. So. It's good. It's good that, I remember hearing like some school systems, I don't think it was Hillsborough County, they were talking about like not making it mandatory
Yeah.
at some point. I don't know if that's still the case in some places, but
I think some places, yeah, they're starting to. I mean, I don't know how you take PE online, but people take PE online. But yeah, the Hope class it is a graduation requirement.
Yeah, that's good.
There's a couple ways you can work around it. You know, whether you do JROTC for 2 years, or if you're a varsity athlete for 2 years, I think that takes the place of it too. So there are ways to work around it, but it is a graduation requirement.
Yeah, I mean that's fair if you're a varsity athlete, because I mean you're still doing something. So that's good. Yeah, no, that's crazy. So yeah, I'm happy that you found your way to the PE room, because like I said, I feel like that just makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's going to allow you to be a better coach, because there's going to be, just again, even you being in the PE class and seeing a couple guys that came out and tried out, or you saying, hey man, you want to come try out next year, or you want to come practice with us at the end of this year, maybe try out next year, or whatever the case is. I mean, you're just not going to have that opportunity if you're not in the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Confined to your classroom.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
You can see a lot of kids.
What about, so you haven't been fishing since you moved back here?
No, not at all. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
But pretty much the time where I'll be able to fish is summer, early fall. And that's about it. Because other than that, we're going to try to do the basketball year-round thing for the most part.
Like, just do like summer tournaments and stuff?
Yeah, some summer league action. We didn't do a fall league this year just because I wanted to get the guys in the lab, and just continue working there. Some of these leagues around here, I just feel like it's a glorified, open run.
Yeah. Sure, you're not necessarily building on like fundamentals, or you're not really building your game per se.
Right.
You're staying in shape, which is good, but.
So yeah, like this fall, like we were doing 2 days. We were doing, lifting or plyometrics in the morning. And then afternoon we would have a little practice, just to work on stuff and start kind of the install early.
Yeah.
And we're able to do that simply because we, just signed up under a little AAU account. Cause technically you can't practice with a ball under your school, name if it's not in season.
Really?
So you just have to register as a little AAU team and then just use the gym that way. And most schools do that.
Yeah. What about like fundraising, right? Because I feel like that's never going to go away.
Yeah.
For as you build the program, as you guys are getting better, what you have other ideas for fundraising down the line yet, or is the golf tournament going to try to be an annual thing that you guys do? I know I think you guys did a car wash at one point too, right?
It's fundraising is constant. When you have a program, it is what it is. It's a constant thing because you're always needing.
You need money to do stuff.
Yeah, to do stuff. If you want to play in a summer league, that costs money.
Yeah.
If you want new practice jerseys, it costs money. Stuff like that. So yeah, fundraising is a constant thing. The golf tournament I thought was pretty successful.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of work up front.
So much work, yeah.
And even though it was successful, I don't know for sure if we're going to plan on making it an annual thing.
I had an idea for you. So, because I just know how much work it is. So, the thing about golf tournaments, I think, is the more that I attend, they've evolved over time, right? So, it used to just be shotgun start golf tournament, 4-man scramble, maybe a hole for longest drive, maybe a hole for close to the pin. And maybe out by the clubhouse, you would have like a putting competition where you could pay like $1 a ball for a putty on the practice screen type thing.
Yeah.
That's like a popular one. That was pretty generic, right? But now it's kind of evolved to where, for instance, like you can pay like 20, like, $10 a head, $20 a head. So you're getting either 40 to 80 bucks per cart that, per team that comes up to start at the 150 mark on a par 5. And so, like the last 2 tournaments I played in, people were doing that because everyone wants to win,
right,
or have a chance to win,
right?
Even if they know they're not going to win, right?
I mean, I just know from my perspective, I would take that all day because I'm horrible.
Well, that's the thing. If you're good, you have to take it because you don't want to be good and lose because somebody that was bad took that,
right?
And you lost by 2 strokes. So that's going to minimally take away 1 to 2, at least one, but likely two for the average golfer or below average golfer. So that was a big one. There's another one. It was I think it was a par 3, but they have these like airsoft type guns where you put golf balls in them. And so you get to shoot them off the tee, but like you dial them in. So it's 100% going to go on the green. You just don't know where it's going to go.
Dang.
And so, but to do that, you pay $10 or $20 a head for whoever wants to do it on your team. And it guaranteed gets you on the green. So again, you have a good chance of like a birdie or whatever the case is.
I'm taking that too.
Yeah. So I'm saying like those are small little things, but think about that. If you have 20 teams and now you're getting an extra $80 per 20,
right?
Now you're racking up.
Yeah.
Now you got practice unis. Now you got hotel fare, whatever the case is. So those are just a couple examples of a couple tournaments I played in the last year where I was like, oh, they're really finding unique ways to get more money.
Okay.
But it's it made sense though, because it was all about the scorecard. Everyone's like, oh man, I have to do this to get 2 strokes, and people want to give money to a good cause anyways, but it's just like, oh, you get money and I actually get a chance to win. So it's like kind of cool. And like, for golf tournaments, it's already competitive as it is, to some degree, not like crazy, but people want to just see what they can do.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are some examples, but my main idea was, you're selling, and everyone does this, is you sell sponsorships on a per hole basis for signs, right?
Right.
That's all well and good. Keep that going. But maybe have another package where you can kind of leverage those sponsors to come in and help you kind of run the admin side of it, right?
Okay.
So it's like, you delineate roles ahead of time. So you say, hey, I'm going to have you handle sign-ins. I'm going to help you. You're going to help me with the raffle at the end, like whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And say, listen, for that, you can have 10 signs. You can have more signs of your company around the whole event.
Gotcha.
Type thing. But I need 4 or 5 bodies from you
to
come help me run this thing.
Okay.
And I feel like if you do that with a couple different companies, say, hey, and again, for them doing that, a little offset. So maybe they have to give you $500 or $1,000 because they're going to have 10 signs everywhere, but they're still going to have 5 bodies that are going to help you kind of run the thing. So it's not all on you.
Right.
Because I feel like in a perfect world, you'd be able to just get in a golf cart and really just kind of make your rounds for a few hours, make sure you're talking. Cause I think that'd be cool, but I just know it's so much work that you probably didn't have enough time to even work the room or do anything or even work the course, because it's like, all right, we got 2 hours till food needs to be ready or whatever the case is. And you're just kind of running it. Right. But I mean, it's tough because it's so lucrative. When you get done with it, I think it's one of the best fundraising events that you can do. But again, there's so much more money that you can pull out of it. And I think that maybe leveraging some of your sponsors to help do the admin side of it could help make it more feasible next year.
Yeah, that would definitely be a big help.
Yeah.
If we were to do that. But I mean, when I first got the job, I was like, how much we looking in our, our basketball account so I can get rolling on getting more basketballs or whatever we need.
How much money do we got?
Negative 500 is what we started with.
What? Really?
Negative? We were in the red.
They're like, we got a credit card, we don't got a checking account.
No. So, so it was tough, but I mean, we've done great. We got a current, donation thing going right now through Snap Raise. So we're trying to get there and get our, we just booked our lodging for our Christmas tournament. We're going back up to Panama City Beach.
Okay.
Hopefully play some good, out of state schools.
Yeah. You guys book a flight too or what?
No, we're just, we're caravanning. We got some parents going. And
is it, I don't know if this is like against rules and stuff, but have you looked into, from a lodging perspective, have you looked into like doing like an Airbnb instead of a hotel? Like just get a big Airbnb, like it might be more cost effective potentially.
Yeah.
And better supervision if you have some chaperones going with you and,
True.
I just didn't know if that was like.
No, it was an option.
Okay.
We got a pretty good rate with the hotel. It's right by the school.
Hotels are no nonsense too.
And a lot of, like I said, a lot of parents are going, so we'll have a lot of eyes.
That's good.
Not that my players are
but
bad, but they're high school kids.
Yeah.
And I already warned them. Panama City Beach, a lot of people drown. There's a lot of rip currents up there.
Yeah.
Every day when we lived up there, it was like rip current statement. Rip current warning.
That's serious.
Yeah, no, and even experienced swimmers, they get,
Absolutely.
they drown.
Yeah.
So it's no joke. So we've already had that conversation.
That's good. Man, that would be fun. It's nice. Played all those tournaments. Got a summer tournament, Christmas tournament. I mean, they're gonna get better just by playing more ball that way. So that's pretty cool. And it's cool to just travel, and it makes it mean more to them too. It's
Right.
like, I want to get my grades up because I'm missing out on regular season and all these cool tournaments.
Right. And it's, team bonding. It's a long trip. It's
Yeah.
like 7 hours up there,
It's a lot of bonding.
Yeah, a lot of team bonding.
Yeah. A lot of tape.
And yeah. And I mean, honestly, I don't know how many of my guys have even left like the Central Florida area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good experience for them to, it's because it's basically South Alabama is what I always consider Panama City.
Yeah, it basically is. I mean, a lot of country stars and country people live down there because it's like waterfront Tennessee property or Alabama property.
Yeah, no, seriously. Whoever made the state borders, for Alabama, they missed out with that because
that's probably purposeful.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, man. Like, I feel like there's so many, like, if you, instead of negative 500, if it was like $25,000 in there, I'm just thinking of like all the cool things that would be cool to be able to do.
Yeah.
That would just help the players and help, again, it's not really a real word, but like the recruiting process down the road, like, oh man, because think about how we thought about like University of Oregon or certain places, or even like when we were going to school, like the Jesuits and stuff like that. It's like, we know they're a private school, but inherently they get so much other stuff that like they got the different warm-ups, they got the away warm-ups, the home warm-ups, different colored jerseys, they got shirts, all that good stuff.
Right.
Imagine if you could have like tablets, where it's like,
they can watch
the film,
go over the plays or whatever.
And you can have IT like make it so like they can't literally use it for like much else outside of like what you put on it.
Yeah.
Buy the insurance policy on them. So if they break, it's just free replacement. It's built into the cost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I mean, now you can just get 10, even if you only had 5 or 7 for like the starters, it's like starters get the tablets this week or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So much cool things that you could do. It just obviously takes like a little bit of money, That's the thing too. A lot of people that probably donated towards the golf tournament, for instance, may not have ever been to a game yet, may not ever get to a game. And I feel like that's so important. It's like finding a way. And I don't know if like you can go back through the signups, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then say like, we're offering like a free game ticket to everyone that sponsored the last golf tournament.
Yeah.
Just to get them in the gym.
Yeah.
Just to see the team, build an actual connection. Be like, oh, I played this golf tournament last year. These are the kids that we were supporting.
Right.
I'm definitely going to sign up next year. And hey, let's do like this extra wood donation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
I feel like that could be kind of cool too.
Yeah. Just building that community, camaraderie, and rapport with each other.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's big with us. I want to get our guys, volunteering at, the Strawberry Festival or whatever, and just getting out in the community.
I think it could be good too, is like, and you might be able to get this for free through the school system, but getting like some headshots done. Cause I know they do like the school picture, but have them come in and get like headshots like you would get at a university, which you could use for a multitude of different things. And, like if you're around Christmas time, you can walk in. It might be more old school now, but you used to be able to walk into certain stores and stuff, and they'd have a Christmas tree, and you could like pull a name off like the tree to like sponsor a kid or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But like use that same logic to like, all right, come sponsor one of the kids on the team. You know what I'm saying? You have 10 varsity guys. Let's just say, come pick a kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's the best kid or the worst kid. Kind of almost like an NIL thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But if they sponsor the kid and that money can only be used towards 5 different things. Whether it's like you can save your money and it can go towards a scholarship when you graduate, or it can go get yourself an extra practice uni or whatever the case, like just different things like that.
Yeah.
That could be, because I think sometimes when you're like, oh, like donate to the kids, or it's like, all right, that sounds great, but what kids? How old, and it's like, oh, donate to the basketball team. Like, all right, now we know which kids, but which kids are on the basket, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when you can just make things more personal,
absolutely,
and you can have a face to it, it's like, oh man, I want to donate to Jerry. Like, he looks like he needs a shirt, or whatever. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like making it more personal. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes people are more like, they just like feel more purpose behind the giving. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to give, and sometimes just giving time, I feel like that could be positive for them. But no, man, those kids are, I feel like when there's a younger coach in the mix, even when we had younger coaches, and Gas wasn't old. I would say that he was like at the top end of being like a younger coach, so to speak, like, back in the day.
For sure.
There's just, I don't know. I feel like you could relate more to them, and I think they know how much it means for even like the small things. You know, like, you know how much it means for even these kids to be able to go on a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you could probably count on one hand how many tournaments we got to go on.
Right.
You know, like through the high school per se.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you know, it wasn't always feasible, like financially. So
No. Yeah. So yeah, fundraising is everything. And then those middle school kids coming up, or you know, just kids at other schools, like we were kind of touching on.
yeah,
They see the new Jordan practice jerseys. You know, they
Yeah.
see, you know, social media posts, you know,
Mhm.
stuff like that, and they're like, man, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
You know? So all that stuff's important.
Is there like so like, let's say a company wanted to come in and give you guys $5,000. Would that be enough to get jerseys for the team?
Yeah. Yeah. Right around. Yeah.
Like that would be like a set maybe, or just like how would it work?
You know, we would get with BSN, who's our uniform designer,
Sure.
and you know, we'll pick out a Nike template,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just kind of go about designing it, and usually it's about, you know, almost $100 for the jersey, almost you know, 100 for the shorts. So we're looking at, you know, no more than 200 for the set for each. You know,
That's just like tank and shorts.
yeah, yeah. And then we just order it and all that.
So how many kids are there on varsity? Is it
We have 13.
13? Okay.
You know, and we could keep up to 15.
Gotcha. So you basically need like $2,500, 26 to be exact, but like $2,500 per one jersey set
For the team. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
varsity team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that's about right.
Yeah.
We just, we just raised some money for some locker room stools,
Okay.
you know, to make it, you know, the locker room is night and day already
Yeah.
from what it was.
Yeah. Let's talk about what other things do you think that you guys could use?
Well, obviously, you know, just like some Durant, you know, team vinyl like stickers, you know, just some
Yeah.
stuff to make it look like, you know, it's our Durant basketball locker room,
Mm-hmm.
which we're working on. We just put up some nameplates for the locker.
Nice.
Each individual, you know, player has their locker nameplate.
Mm-hmm.
Got some LED lights in there. It looks a lot better than when I first got there.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to have, you know, a space where they could go relax before games.
Yeah.
I mean, they had that space, but it didn't feel like a team locker room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I should go up there and just like check it out. I'm just thinking like on the construction side of things, like if there was something we could go and just like donate to you guys, like build out something. I don't know, like it's tough to have an idea without even like looking at it, but
And that's something we're thinking on, because like the lockers we have right now, it's just basically a almost like a wardrobe that had doors on it, you know, that you pull open, and we just took the doors off, and it has a bar that they can hang their stuff on. It has a little, you know, a couple cubbies, but we eventually will want to get like, you know, an individual basketball locker where they can sit, and they have a cubby, you know, up top, and you know, stuff like that, because they're not basketball lockers per se.
Yeah, I should come up there and look at it and take some photos, and then like I don't know, I don't think it would be like that big of a project for us to do.
I think they're pretty easy to make.
Yeah.
But obviously it's just more expensive buying them from a company that they're already made and all that.
Yeah.
But in terms of just, you know, buying wood and making them, I don't think it's too hard.
I mean, that's something we would just like obviously donate to the program too. So, you know, this obviously have to probably get approved through the, you know, whatever the normal process. But yeah, we should definitely plan that. I don't know. It's just the thing is, dude, I feel like a lot. I mean, I know me personally, you know, a big part of like the purpose I'd like to create in my life is, you know, doing different outreach and like give back and stuff. But it's such a tough conversation, or such a tough thing when you want to give back, because it's like, who do you give back to? Who's first in line? But I think you just got to start with people around you, you know, that have people that could use help or could use support, or could use whatever the case is. And then kind of work from there, you know.
For
it's
sure.
obviously easy to turn on the news and be like, that person needs help. It's like on your drive to work, you know, you passed 10 people that needed help. You have 10 people on your phone that needed help. You go to school and work with probably a couple people that could use some help, you know. So it's just like, I like to start with those things first, you know. So obviously, like, you work directly with kids, so it's like an easy, kind of like an easy, more direct, you know, access to the people you're helping, and again, it's like a little bit more personal that way too.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
And helping out Tampa, helping out where you're at, so that's pretty cool. So where do you, what would be a successful first season for you? And what are some of your goals that you're trying to accomplish, whether it's just culture, continuity, record wise, whether it's just establishing the trust with the AD, and just like the school, like what are some of the things that you would look back on the first season and say, I was able to check some boxes in year one?
No, absolutely. I mean, for me to consider it a successful season, really it's just having that clarity that I was able to kind of establish my culture that I want, establish my expectations that I want for the program. As long as we can do that, I think that would be considered a successful season, regardless of wins and losses.
Yeah.
Right now we're doing pretty well, at 6-1. But I don't think we're necessarily playing as good as our record shows.
Sure.
Because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
But just a couple of goals that our team came up with. We're looking to try to get to 17, 18 wins.
Okay.
They finished with 14 last year.
Okay.
They were 14-12 last year. So we're trying to get to that 17, 18 win kind of threshold. We want to beat some rivals. We haven't beat Plant City in a while, so that's our biggest rival, and they're one of the top teams right now.
When's that game? What's that date? I know you already know it.
So. I believe it's January 16th, and it's at home.
They're gonna say January 6th.
No, but yeah, January 16th, at home. It's gonna be a big one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big crowd. It'll be one of those games where you got both sides of the bleachers down. It's gonna be chippy, scrappy. A lot of jawing back and forth. But Coach Cheaton runs a great program.
Yeah. You guys are gonna have to be super sound that day.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a big game coming up. We have Newsom next Friday coming up.
Is that when a lot of your games are on Fridays? Or
it seems to be Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
But like this week we have back-to-back Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we have Friday.
Oh wow. 3 games 1 week?
Yeah, 3 games in a
Holy
week.
crap.
So it's a lot. Yeah, big week. And our goal, weekly is just one game at a time, but finish the week undefeated.
Yeah.
And we just want to get each week, through each week undefeated.
Yeah.
So we're hoping we can, obviously get pretty far in the district tournament and then hopefully make a regional appearance.
Yeah, that'd be big, dude. That'd be a great first year.
Yeah.
Because the biggest, obviously, you want to come in and be better than the year before, but you just don't want to be worse than the year before. I guess from a record standpoint, because that's like the first thing people see. It's kind of like judging a book by its cover. That's the cover,
right?
Even the people behind the curtain see like the work and the culture's changing, and like the grades got better,
right? And
the parent involvement got better because they're buying in. Whatever the case is, like those are all positives too. That obviously behind the curtain, the higher ups can see. But the first thing everyone sees is Google the record. It's like, oh man,
and it could be good or it could be bad. So right now it's we're on the positive side of that. But
well, it's a lot easier to work with a lot more wins and losses, and the vice versa, right? So it's like, I think that's positive, and I mean that's a fast start. I mean, any division, that's a fast start.
Yeah,
I mean, to be 7-1 or 6-1.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 43% towards your goal.
Yeah. We're almost So, and that's what I tell the guys, we're almost there. We just got to keep plugging along. And a big thing for us is just not getting complacent. Because some of the teams we've played in the past, week and a half, we've beaten. We haven't played particularly well, but we've just beaten just because we're just better basketball players.
Right.
But in terms of executing our stuff and playing lockdown defense, there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But just not being complacent.
Yeah. That's
just,
a big thing.
Staying humble and just always staying hungry.
Yeah.
For more.
Do you have anybody like scheduled, or have you had anybody like come in to talk to the team yet? Just on some like motivation stuff, or just to kind of keep their spirits high?
We had a guy from FCA, the Fellowship of Christian
Mhm.
Athletes, come in, and he spoke to the team
Nice.
this past week.
Mhm.
Our principal, Gary Graham,
Mhm.
he's very supportive. He came in and talked to the guys. And a big thing he talked about was it's a privilege to be a student athlete.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're also at the same time held to higher standards being a student athlete. But, you know, if you're not keeping up with it and you're not doing what you're supposed to be as a student athlete, it's real easy to take that athlete out of the student athlete, you know what I'm saying? And just
Mhm.
be a regular student.
Right.
So the guys, you know, they're starting to understand that. And we had a kid, a senior, great ball player, you know, our leading scorer,
Yeah.
struggling with grades in, you know, in prior years. You know, in this first quarter, he got straight A's.
Yeah.
You know, he might have 3 PE classes.
That's all right. He figured it out.
Yeah, but he still got a math and an English, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
just good. Just you know, getting those guys buying into the academic side too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's important. And you know, yeah, I mean, you know, obviously like your coach is important, but sometimes when you have like a different voice telling you the same thing, then it's like, oh, okay, maybe coach is onto something, you know, because not to say that they're not believing what you're saying, but you know how it is. You just hear the same thing multiple different ways, and it's like, okay, there must be something to this. You know what I'm saying? And no, it's tough. It's tough, but I know Fred, when Fred comes in town, he'd be a good one to like talk to the team a little bit, you know, and
Absolutely.
just, you know, obviously from his coaching background and playing and just, you know, understanding that, you know, there's kind of a sense of urgency that I think that's one thing that probably doesn't get talked about a lot, you know. Obviously it's good to talk about you know, talk about the responsibilities of being a student athlete, and obviously with that opportunity comes the responsibilities to handle your business at the classroom, put your best effort forth, you know. But also there's a sense of urgency to it too, right? Because you know, you don't have that much time in high school in general. You don't have that many games. You don't have that many minutes in that game, depending on who you are. Right. So it's just, you know, understanding those opportunities too. It's like, okay, you have step one opportunity to be an athlete, student athlete. Second opportunity is what are you going to do with that opportunity?
Absolutely.
You know, so there's kind of a sense of urgency to that, you know, and, you know, I know they're kids at the end of the day and they just want to play basketball and, you know, walk around school and be a part of the team and tell people they're part of the team. And, you know, that's obviously fun and a part of it too. But,
and I mean, and that's kind of another thing going off that is what I stress to the team is everybody has their own role.
Yeah.
You know, I can't play all 13 of you, you know, I wish I could, but, and, you know, situationally, however the game flow is, you know, all that, you know, some people might not play.
Yeah.
And there, you know, and there's guys on the team that just, you know, want to be a part of the team and just, you know, say they're with Durant basketball.
Yeah.
But then their role is to be on the bench and high energy on the bench, you know, and, you know, always talking,
clapping, standing up, calling things out for them.
Exactly. And it helps the team whether they realize it or not.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So everybody's kind of got their role that they play, and we identify those roles, you know, before the season and all that. So there's no misunderstanding on where they stand and what, you know, what I'm looking for in them.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. Obviously, I don't know how this would work logistically. I'm just popping my head right now. But a lot of times, like when you're making a sub, the person that's subbing in is typically subbing in for the same one or two people. A lot of times, not always. Yeah. But it could be good to be like, okay, you're typically getting subbed in for either A or B. So your job on the bench is only watch A and B. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then everyone has an assigned person to call out. That way you're actively playing on the bench. Because right now, everyone's just watching everyone probably. Yeah. So they're all just calling out the same stuff, which is still good. You know, but if you're like, hey, you're the backup point guard, I only want what you watch on the point guard. Yeah. So anything that he's not seeing, you should be calling out on the bench. Just the point guard. Don't worry about the center. Just call the point guard. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. And then now the center just calls out center stuff. So now, and then the players know who to listen to now, right? Yeah. So now it's like the center can key in on so-and-so on the bench because he's only watching me. So like when he says back door, when I hear Mitch's name say back door, I know he's talking to me, right? You know, right? Because now I got to look around and say who's back, you know, who's whatever. But now if you know, like, okay, you know, that could help. Just so like when you're on the bench, it's like, all right, you're watching the shooting guard today. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, absolutely. And as a coach, you know, you're constantly looking at, you know, different parts of the court and all that, so you can't see everything. You can't see everything until you review the film, you know. Yeah, so you're like, oh crap. So yeah, and
we kind of preach with the guys, communicate with me. If you see something that I'm not seeing, communicate that with me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
what do you think that you could get better at from a coaching perspective?
Definitely subbing and just
subbing earlier, subbing later.
I think just personnel.
Okay.
In terms of who's going out there for who, and kind of creating some matchups out of that. And I have a tough time because I want to play everybody I can, but I have to have a certain level of trust that you can get in there and execute whatever I'm asking you to execute.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, I struggle with it in terms of getting you out there in the game.
Yeah.
Because theoretically there shouldn't be any drop off, or how at least I want it is there shouldn't be any drop off if I'm subbing somebody in for you.
Yeah.
But definitely just kind of the flow of the game and making key substitutions. But there's always, stuff to work on with X's and O's, situational stuff, end game, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But
small things.
Yeah, just small things. But, just being a first year varsity coach.
Yeah.
I'm just constantly working on all those things.
Yeah. Because that's the thing too. It's like, as a coach, the coach is always as he should be, or as she should be, they're always outlining the things that the team needs to do to get better, But if you're up there and you're like, okay, y'all need to do A, B, and C, you need to talk more, you need to be more confident in running this motion, or whatever the case is. And then if you're like, yeah, but I need to get better at A, B, and C too.
Yeah.
And we both, you need to work on this. I'm going to work on this because we got January 16th coming up,
Absolutely.
The only way we're winning this game is if I get better at these three things, and if you guys get better at these three things. So I'm going to meet you there,
Right.
So the coach never talks like that. They're always like, you,
And you gotta hold yourself and your team accountable.
Yeah.
And I let them know if I mess up, or if I'm, championship time is 15 minutes before practice. If, on a Saturday practice, if I'm there at 8:46, I'll run with them.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So we try to preach that accountability.
Yeah, that's big. Accountability, transparency. So shifting away from basketball, what are some goals that you have for yourself? Not just personal, but life, whatever, just not necessarily connected to basketball for next year, 2024. It could be big or small. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just like something that you would like to accomplish, something you'd like to just one thing.
Honestly, just figuring out our house situation in Panama City Beach. We're still trying to sell it or rent it. I think we'll give it another month trying to sell it, and then if not, we'll try to rent it out. But that's just as a family goal. I know that's what we've talked about a lot, just kind of
closing that chapter.
Yeah, closing that chapter and figuring out what we're going to do with it next.
Yeah. Interest rates have actually gone down almost 100 basis points, which is a lot. People this past week were securing deals, primary residences at 6 3/4, which is it was 7 3/4. Yeah. So, and that was without points. That was without buying points. So you could buy that down. Or a lot of people are doing the adjustable rate for the first few years. That way you can get into a 4.5 or something.
Okay.
So a lot of times, if you're having trouble selling the house too, it's kind of falls on the realtor for this, but they need to suggest those options to the buyers and say, listen, because a lot of times a price point of a property will push them out of affordability based on the interest rate.
Okay.
Right. Because the interest rate obviously adds to what their monthly payment's going to be.
Right.
But if they go in there and they get a 4.5 at paying some points or an adjustable rate instead of the 6.5 even, that's going to save them $400 or $500. Now they can afford it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So, but I think I say all that to say that with lower interest rates, there's going to be way more a larger buyer pool. So I do think in the next 6 months within that time frame, you guys should have a lot more luck or more eyeballs on the property, just simply because there's more buyers out there now.
All right.
Which is good.
I feel alive,